and thank you for joining our Outstanding Employee Resource Group webinar. This award was proudly sponsored by Laya Healthcare on that memorable night at the start of the month. My name is James Cawley, and I'm the Business Development Manager at the Irish Centre for Diversity. To self-describe, I am a disabled white Irish man. I have brown hair with touches of grey, and I'm wearing a lilac shirt. I'm sitting in my powered wheelchair with a white backdrop behind me with Irish Centre for Diversity branding. As you know, we recently held the National Diversity and Inclusion Awards 2025 to recognise and celebrate the valuable work being done to progress diversity and inclusion in Ireland. This webinar series has been created again this year to share the insights and experiences from the sponsor, the winner, and finalists in each category so that we can share any learnings and that they can be applied to your organisation or indeed help with entering the next award cycle. As I said, today's session focuses on the category of Outstanding Employee Resource Group. Before we begin, I want to tell you a bit about the sponsor. Laya Healthcare, part of AXA, is the second largest provider of private health insurance in Ireland with over more than 500,000 members. This is their third time as sponsors of this category at the National Diversity and Inclusion Awards since its inception in 2023. It is important to mention that Laya Healthcare, like the other sponsors and our Centre for Diversity, had no part in the judging process and couldn't enter themselves. Now on to the running order. I will soon pass you over to the award sponsor, and Erika will lead a great conversation. And then we'll hear from some finalists and end with the award winner wrapping up within the hour. Some housekeeping, just to say we're joined by Shelley Gibson, our Irish Sign Language interpreter this morning. This session is being recorded and will be available on the Irish Centre for Diversity website in the coming days. Everyone is on mute except the panel, and please do say hello or where you're zooming in from today and share comments in the chat function. We'd love to hear which organisations you're joining us from too. With a packed agenda, there isn't time for questions and answers. However, I do know some of our panel will share their LinkedIn profiles in the chat, so you might get connecting on there to keep the conversation going. Now, enough from me. Without further ado, I'm very pleased to introduce our host for today's session, Erika O'Leary, Director of People and Culture at Laya Healthcare, who will shine a light on their organisation's EDI advances and lead what is sure to be an enlightening conversation. Over to you, Erika. Thanks.
Thanks so much, James. I'm delighted to be here this morning. A fantastic opportunity to meet all the panelists and hear a little bit more about all the great work that we heard so much about on the night of the awards, which was a fantastic event. Just supposed to self-describe myself today. So I'm a white Cork woman with blonde hair. I'm currently wearing a multicolored striped shirt, and my background is actually blurred. So I'll just, I suppose, take a quick moment really just to give, I suppose, an overview as to why Laya sponsors this award. As James mentioned, it's our third year sponsoring and supporting these fantastic awards. And I suppose for us, why it's so important is because while we are so passionate and it's part of Laya's DNA, and ED&I, as I said, is something that we focus on ourselves. This awards, it's really clear to us that it means so much to so many in such a variety of other workspaces. And I think that's what's key for us. And that's so evident as well on the night. It's not just an awards event, it is so much more than that. It speaks to what we at Laya continue to strive for, which is total inclusion for the team and for our members and for everyone feeling their authentic selves at work, and that they can bring themselves to work and feel included. So we're not part of the judging panel, as James mentioned. However, we are invested in ED&I. We're investors in Diversity Gold ourselves. And we've been committed to our own ED&I journey for the last number of years, moving through the bronze, silver and gold accreditation. We live our values of being caring and fair. And as I mentioned, ED&I is really in our DNA. We have a focused approach to ED&I, so it's driven from the top leadership and forms the strategic part of everything we do across the business. It's also part of the social part of our ESG pillar. At Laya, we have a huge focus on flexibility. 75% of our workforce are women. So we have a huge amount of flexible policies, including the likes of menopause policies. And we showcase this every year as well as part of our own Workplace Wellbeing Summit and Workplace Wellbeing Index. We have a dedicated ED&I council who advise us on every aspect of ED&I. So as I said, it really does form part of our D&I, our DNA rather. So I suppose today really isn't about us though, it's about our panelists here today. So I'm going to move quickly on to our first, and which is our third finalist, which are the PM group. And with us today, we have Mags Dalton. So you're very welcome, Mags.
Thank you very much. Delighted to be here.
So Mags, just I suppose to give a bit of background, the judges were full of praise for PM Group's Women's Network, and in particular, the Mentoring Circles initiative. The Mentoring Circles were set up in 2023 and were designed to upskill members around key topics such as assertiveness and negotiation. By creating small focus groups, participants were able to engage in meaningful discussions, set goals, and develop the skills needed for their professional growth. The success of this initiative is evident in the really positive feedback from participants. So mentoring can be such a challenge to get right. You seem to be really getting the results here, Mags. Why do you believe it's so successful?
I think there was a number of factors that fed into the positive outcomes from the program. And I think the first is kind of a more is what our approach to the Women's Network in general, and that's that it is a friendly, open environment that we can share with each other our experiences in work and personally. And it's important that the chairs and also the mentor facilitators gave their own experience to kind of set the tone of the sessions and ensure that it's open and honest, and kind of to, I suppose, to break the ice as well. And that always helps. What we also did was we surveyed the network first to understand what were the topics that they really wanted to hear about. And assertiveness and negotiation skills came out top by far. So we knew we were bringing topics in that really related to the network and they wanted to learn more about. And then what we did was we kicked off the mentor circles by inviting an expert in both of those areas to speak to the network. And we'd really high attendance at those talks initially. So that, I suppose, that built trust that the circles were going to be based on, trusted information and not just our own thoughts and Google research, that it was based on sound advice. And we developed the mentor circle workshop material on that information, and then an extensive research around it. So a lot of work went into both of those topics, and the intent was that we would develop that material so that we could run those workshops again the following year and then add more topics to it as well. So I think a combination of all of those factors meant the mentor circles went well, and there was really good take up and there was good engagement and the feedback was positive. So we were happy that the work put in paid off and everybody seemed to gain a little bit at least from those sessions. So they were probably the main factors.
Well, that's fantastic, Mags. Thanks for sharing that with us. Very great to see what you're doing in that space.
Yeah, and I'm happy to share my LinkedIn details, and if anybody wants to see those workbooks and share information, and happy to. We've already worked with a couple of PM Group's clients in this space to help with their Women's Network program as well. So the information is available, no problem.
That's fantastic. Thanks so much, Mags.
No, thank you very much, Erika. Thanks, everybody. It's great to hear all the stories.
So I'm pleased to welcome our next award finalists, which are HICWA, and today represented by Anna Delaney and Laura Kelleher. So you're very welcome, Anna and Laura.
Thanks so much, Erika, and thanks for inviting us to talk today.
Erika.
Hi, Laura. So the judges really enjoyed the fact that as part of HICWA's commitment to promoting and protecting human rights, you've put an allyship at the heart of your ERG strategy. A key feature of your celebration of International Women's Day in 2024 is that you ran a clothes collection for Work Equal and donated 3 boxes of clothing to them. Your past 2 Pride events have raised funds for Belong To. So I'm wondering if you can tell us a bit more about the role that allyship plays in your ERG strategies.
Thanks, Erika. Yeah, and absolutely. And just to introduce ourselves, Laura and I were co-chairs of HICWA's Diversity and Inclusion Working Group in 2024. And to self-describe myself, I'm a white woman also from County Cork with long dark hair. I'm wearing a black dress and I'm sitting with HICWA's virtual background behind me.
And my name is Laura. I am a white woman in my 30s with long dark hair. I'm wearing a navy jumper and a HICWA rainbow lanyard, and I'm sitting with a blue HICWA background behind me. So the Health Information and Quality Authority, HICWA, is an organisation founded on the basis of promoting and protecting human rights. As an employee resource group in HICWA, we believe that a key part of promoting diversity and inclusion is to act as an ally. To us, allyship is about making a conscious effort to develop a culture of inclusion for our staff to engage in, both in and outside their work. In almost all of the work that we do, our aim is to be the best allies that we can be and to encourage others to be allies too. As you've mentioned, Erika, we worked with Work Equal in 2024 on an office wear clothing collection to help support women wishing to advance in their careers or returning to the workplace. We also host a yearly Pride-themed bake-off in support of Belong To, the proceeds of which have been used to fund one-to-one support services for young LGBTQIA+ people. Part of our Pride Bake-Off celebration also involves inviting a speaker from Belong To talk with our staff about the work that they do and about how we can support young LGBTQIA+ people. Previously, we've also invited organisations such as I Am, Women's Aid and Pavy Point to HICWA for our colleagues to learn more about allyship for the groups that these organisations work with. In 2025, we are planning to continue our work with these organisations who are making massive contributions in their areas. We consider supporting the work of these organisations a crucial part of our allyship and a key responsibility for us as a human rights focused organisation. In addition to working with those charities, we felt that it was important to be allies to other organisations too and to develop networks of allies. We developed connections with other ED&I groups by joining the public sector D&I group, where there is a forum for idea sharing and discussion. We also began to connect internationally when we celebrated EU Diversity Month for the first time. We were the first Irish public sector organisation to feature on the EU Diversity Month map, and we hope that this will inspire other public sector organisations to celebrate EU Diversity Month this year.
So as well as what Laura said there, we also see the work of building relationships within HICWA as a key to developing ally networks. And one of these groups within HICWA is HICWA's executive management team, who are allied to our group and have done incredible work with us to foster a culture of diversity and inclusion. Along with them, we've also started working with our HR team to develop an organisational approach to ED&I, which will be embedded in key corporate strategies and plans for the coming years. We regularly collaborate with HICWA's other groups and clubs, including HICWA's Social Club, our Book Club, Crossword Club, our Kirkle Cora, and our HR Wellbeing team on events. So for example, last year, we collaborated with the Book Club on a themed book choice in March 2024 in celebration of International Women's Day, and our Social Club on Pride Nights Out for each of the offices. So another aspect of allyship is to promote inclusivity, and our group is an intersectional group. So for example, in 2024, we celebrated a range of D&I topics, including, as we mentioned, International Women's Day, Neurodiversity Celebration Week, EU Diversity Month, Pride, Culture Week, and International Human Rights Day. So in that sense, we are allies to each other and as many of the staff within HICWA as possible. We also consider education as a crucial part of developing allies. So we developed and published our first informational e-learning module on diversity basics, which we issued to all staff in 2024. And this is something we're building on this year. So we're currently developing a second e-learning module on the topic of pride. right across the board with allyship and with other aspects of D&I, but visibility is a key element of being allies and promoting diversity and inclusion. So we've collaborated with our HR team to ensure that all new staff are informed about diversity and inclusion and our working group during their corporate induction programme. We've worked with our facility team to design and purchase a large order of our HICWA rainbow branded lanyards, which both myself and Laura are wearing this morning, which have been very popular and really again have helped promoting visibility within the group and within HICWA internally. We've had huge support from HICWA's communication and stakeholder engagement team, and they've supported us by posting about our events on HICWA's social media, spotlighting events on the intranet homepage, providing us with a regular spot on our internal e-zine, as well as helping us to develop our HICWA D&I branded rainbow logo and email banner. And then, of course, we regularly communicate with staff through email to let them know about events and share information and resources. We put up posters, flyers and decorations in the office as well. And I suppose a key part of being the ally and just to sum up, an ally's work is never done, but we're really delighted to say that HICWA's Diversity and Inclusion Working Group is going from strength to strength, and it's really onwards and upwards for us over the coming years. So thanks so much for letting us speak today.
Thanks so much to you both. Onwards and upwards is right. Sounds fantastic. You're doing great work there and worthy of places finalists. So well done to you.
Thank you.
So moving on, I'd like to welcome Siobhan Gearan, who is with us today to speak on behalf of finalist Mr. Price Branded Bargains. So you're very welcome, Siobhan.
Thank you.
So Mr. Price ERG is known as, I love this, the Margarita Club, which was inspired by the Assume That I Can and I Will video featuring Madison Tevlin for World Down Syndrome Day 2024. The Margaritas came across to the judges as an action-orientated group, meeting regularly to set clear priorities and tracking the impact of their initiatives. They use metrics to ensure transparency and are a really impressive balance of energy and accountability. So Siobhan, your Include Me podcast sparks critical conversations around D&I and really impressed the judges. Can you tell us a bit more about it?
I can. Good morning, everybody. I'm Siobhan Graney, the Corporate Social Responsibility Coordinator for Mr. Price. To self-describe, I am a white woman in my 30s with long blonde hair. I'm wearing a beige dress with gold buttons. And I'm excited to share our journey of the employee resource group, the Margarita Club. Today, I'll walk you through our impact strategy and why inclusion is at the heart of everything we do. Intersectionality is at the heart of the group. Internal impact transforming the workplace. For us, DEI is more than just a policy, it's part of our culture. The Margarita Club was formed to create inclusive space where every voice is heard, from store colleagues to senior leadership. Our core values and culture shape everything we do and is interactive focus on the real actions we have. Ableism awareness campaigns, domestic violence awareness training, gender identity training, menopause training, Irish Sign Language classes, traveller culture awareness training. We believe in the motto, there is nothing for us without us, which is why we are actively involved in employees in shaping these initiatives. Employees engagement and diverse representation. Our members include employees from different backgrounds, job levels and experiences, ensuring that everyone has a seat at the table. Advocacy and awareness campaigns. The Margarita Club leads fundraising efforts and awareness campaigns to support various causes such as Darkness into Light, Guide Dog Day, Walk Day, Turn Blue for AMC, Run for Autism, Cuppa for Rehab. By connecting employees through these initiatives, we build a workplace where everyone feels valued and empowered. External impact, driving change beyond Mr. Price. The Margarita Club isn't just about internal impact. We work with external organisations to extend our reach. Some of our key elements include driving meaningful change in our community, fostering partnership and creating opportunities for those often marginalized in society. Employment and inclusion initiatives. We believe that inclusive hiring can transform lives. That's why we are actively supporting employment pathways for individuals facing barriers, people with convictions, recruitment drives at Wheatfield Cork, Shelton Abbey prisons, providing a second chance for people for employment opportunities. We have a mentorship program in over 65 locations to create a supportive and discrimination-free workplace. In the Stillorgan project with the National Learning Network, enhancing training facilities for students with disabilities, providing practical skills, shelving and merchandising setups to prepare them for employment. These initiatives break down symptomatic barriers, ensuring that everyone, regardless of their past or ability, has access to meaningful employment. Community empowerment and education. Our external engagement extends to empowering individuals through education, training and awareness initiatives. Giving Confidence Clubhouse event in August 2024, the Killarney Art Competition in partnership with Autism Friendly Killarney and As I Am. This event showcases the talents of autistic artists while raising funds for autism awareness initiatives. Mentorship and training collaborations with Vision Ireland and Chime, partnering with Chime mentoring program to support employees and job seekers who are deaf or hard of hearing, collaborating with Vision Ireland to improve workplace accessibility and digital inclusion, for which visual impaired by focusing on education and breaking down cultural and society barriers. We empower individuals to both thrive in the workplace and in their communities. Closing our remark, the Margarita Club is more than an employee resource group. It is a movement. Our work is grounded in the belief that everyone deserves a voice, opportunities, and an ability to thrive.
That's great. Thank you so much, Siobhan. As I said, doing great work with the Margarita Club. So keep up the great work and well done again. Another worthy finalist. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So our next finalist is Irish Distillers, represented by Melanie Sheridan. Melanie, you're very welcome today.
Thank you.
So Melanie, the judges loved learning about the Shared Roots series, where colleagues gather in person every 2 months across all the Irish Distillers sites to learn about the home countries, food and traditions of others, and celebrate the ethnic diversity at Irish Distillers. The time and commitment given to this initiative is really impressive, with bios and recipes shared on your intranet afterwards. So Melanie, can you tell us a little about Shared Roots and how it has evolved?
Absolutely. Thank you. And thank you for the opportunity to be here today. So just to self-describe, I am a white Irish woman, like James, brown hair with a bit of grey in it. And I am wearing a blue shirt, and my backdrop is kind of pale blue with our Pernod Ricard sunburst in multicolours, and also our Belong D&I Network logo with the cultural diversity colours. So yeah, so Shared Roots came about. Actually, there were two main reasons for its origins. So my colleague, who was the lead for the Belong Cultural Diversity focus group, she spoke on World Refugee Day about her experience of coming to Ireland. And that was hugely powerful. And I guess what it brought home to us was that there are so many people who mightn't have had maybe as intense or emotionally laden journeys to Ireland, but they did have journeys to Ireland, and that they would relish in the same way that Biola had the opportunity to share about their home country. And the benefit to them and to everyone within the organisation about hearing about colleagues in a way that isn't just related to work. So that was kind of one key element. And then I suppose in the post-COVID era, you know, conviviality is at the heart of everything that we do in Pernod Ricard. And we felt that the opportunity for convivial moments had been seriously impacted. So behind Shared Roots was the you know, the drive to get people together in person. So the sessions, and that's why they were across all sites, they weren't virtual. They were everyone coming together for, you know, kind of 25 to 30 minutes of discussion with colleagues. And there was kind of set questions that were asked, and, you know, just an opportunity for our colleagues, of which we've over 35 from, you know, different nationalities and countries working for us, to share about their home country. And then we're very lucky to have really great on-site canteen facilities. And so our chefs there created specially selected dishes. So it went from not only this kind of in-person chat, but then people going and sharing the meals together. And the feedback was just really special, I think, from everyone who took part. So not only the hosts, but the speakers as well. And they said that the conversations that they had afterwards were so powerful for them, because they felt that they were seen in a different way. So I think that was, you know, really the great thing. And I suppose, you know, with any of us, I know our, you know, D&I initiatives, we're looking for what's the long-term impact. And that for us was very much measured in our pulse survey around, you know, anecdotal feedback around feeling, you know, that sense of belonging that was achieved, or that increased sense of inclusion as a result of the Shared Roots series. And I should mention that when Biola first did her talk on World Refugee Day, we had Graham Clifford from Sanctuary Runners who was speaking at the same day. And what we did was then we're very lucky to have an excellent creative team in-house. So they created this beautiful commemorative book with all of the recipes, with these fabulous pictures in them of all of the speakers. And we launched that last December. And all of the funds raised went to Sanctuary Runners. So there was this lovely kind of circular piece, you know, what started off as a marking of World Refugee Day and this hugely cathartic, emotional event for Biola. Then we ended up raising a ton of funds, and lots of other colleagues got to share their stories as well. So that is our Shared Roots. And the feedback was so good. Initially, we were just thinking of it as being a one-year event, you know, in 2024. But we've had so much, please, can I be included type requests, that it'll be rolled out in 25 as well.
That's great. Melanie, in fairness, it sounds like Shared Roots has really had a massive impact and continuing.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, thank you. It's been lovely, really great. Thank you so much.
Congratulations again, worthy finalists. And I suppose just to move on to our penultimate finalist, who are Expleo Technology. And with us today is Tatiana Titus. So Tatiana, you're very welcome.
Hi, Erika. Can you hear me okay?
I can indeed.
Perfect.
You're very welcome here today. So Tatiana, the judges applauded Expleo for their sustainability ERG, who are responsible for a range of initiatives, including canal cleanups, battery recycling, and tree planting days, all of which have directly reduced the company's ecological footprint. The tree planting initiative resulted in 300 trees being planted in protected woodlands. So Tatiana, can you tell us a little more about this fantastic ERG and the internal and external impact it's having?
Most certainly, Erika, and thank you very much for the introduction. My name is Tatiana Titus, and it's really a pleasure to be here as a representative of our employee resource group, which has been at the forefront of driving sustainability within Expleo. Our journey actually began in 2022 with a clear vision to create a more sustainable workplace, but importantly, fostering a culture of shared responsibility and engagement. Over the past 3 years, the group has evolved into a structured, a strategic, and really an action-driven community, which ensures that sustainability isn't just a concept, so we're very aware of greenwashing, but really a practice that's embedded in our daily ways of working and, of course, like our general operations. I think what makes the group really special is kind of our governance and strategy. So To ensure long-term impact and inclusivity within the group, we've implemented a governance model that promotes diversity of thought and equitable workload sharing. So our leadership actually rotates on a quarterly basis. And with this, it brings, a fresh perspective. It allows for more voices to shape the group's direction. We also meet on an annual basis to do what we call our strategy and planning day. And this provides an opportunity for us to reflect on our successes, to identify any areas for improvement, and of course, to set clear objectives for the year ahead. So what I always say that this serves as our roadmap, and I always call it's our North Star. It essentially guides us, back on track whenever, we need to refocus. But I suppose if I answer your question, you're kind of saying internally, right? So if I look, or if I consider internally, our focus is built around 3 core pillars. So that's people, planet, and prosperity. And what we've done is we've established a framework to deliver our strategy on a quarterly basis, aligned with our leadership on a quarterly basis. And you might be asking yourself, what does that kind of look like? So on a quarterly basis, we know that we have our monthly canal cleanup. Sometimes we do them fortnightly, and we make it a priority to give back to our local community by maintaining the waterway areas around our office. In terms of other quarterly commitments that we have, we are committed to delivering 2 engagement activities, 2 education sessions, and a campaign per quarter. So this month we actually organized a hike to summit the Great Sugar Loaf in Wicklow. It was actually last weekend, so I went there. I was very soaked afterwards, very marshy, and yeah, it was a great experience. And we'll be taking our colleagues on the Poolbeg Walk in 2 weeks' time, which is a scenic coastal walk in Dublin for anybody who's never been. In terms of our education sessions, we're hosting a call for Global Recycling Day in March, where we plan to launch a new recycling scheme within the office where we're going to be collecting cans and bottles for charity. Then, as an NTA workplace partner, we actively participate in their annual calendar of events. So this includes next month's challenge or step challenge, which is aptly named Marchathon. It's a campaign that promotes sustainable commuting while enhancing, employee well-being within the workplace. We also, of course, run our own kind of annual campaigns, which engage employees virtually and in person. So given the hybrid and consultancy-based work that we do, we need to ensure inclusivity. So it's not just for people on site, but also that we're considering our colleagues that are working probably more predominantly remotely. So we do virtual challenges, so 7 or 30-day challenges that raise awareness for initiatives such as Plastic Free July, World Earth Day. So having this structure has really enabled us to make a number of workplace improvements. This has included kind of greener office initiatives. You kind of alluded there in your introduction where you talked about the battery recycling. We've installed smart plugs around the office, and we're pretty much paperless at this point. This year we have plans to introduce, formal IT recycling program. So within our business, it's a technology business. So given the importance of information security, we had to partner with a charity to demonstrate that we can recycle these items without compromising company data. So we're working towards that. In terms of climate education, we are in the process of becoming climate fresk facilitators. This is an interactive program that helps participants. So in this case, it'll be our colleagues to better understand the science behind climate change and encourage meaningful action within their own personal lives. And then sustainable supply chain practices, we've introduced a number of incentives at work. So for example, we have reusable cups at our coffee dock. So you don't get free coffee if you don't bring your reusable cup. So hopefully, usually that incentivizes people to adopt more sustainable practice. And we've eliminated plastic water bottles from our office, importantly. And again, in terms of the employee engagement initiatives, I outlined the different hikes and walks just a moment ago. And we really organize these because the purpose of it is really to build a connection and appreciation to nature. But we also organize different things such as seasonal clothing swaps. You mentioned the tree planting event, educational workshops on fast fashion, plastic pollution, and it goes on. And then very lastly, in terms of our external impact beyond the workplace, we're extending our sustainability efforts into the wider community. So some highlights of that include, so another ERG mentioned there, partnering with Work Equal for a clothing drive on International Women's Day. And this, of course, supports individuals returning to work by repurposing professional clothing. We're running this initiative again, as you're probably all aware, International Women's Day is only around the corner. In terms of seasonal and community-based activities, you outlined there in the introduction our tree planting initiative for World Earth Day. Last year we planted 500 trees, not 300, and we'll be back again this year to do it again. We got really good feedback, so normally we try to change things up, but because the feedback was so overwhelming, we'll be running it again, hopefully for a different set of employees to join. We also host eco-friendly workshops, so we had our handmade, just to give you an example, a handmade Christmas gift workshop. So we saw our colleagues share their skills in terms of soap and candle making. And I thought it was funny when I reflected on it later how, the pandemic really helped us discover and kind of diversify our talents. And then, of course, our well-known, Royal Canal community cleanup, which I already touched on. It takes place on a monthly, sometimes fortnightly basis to protect our local environment. And then very lastly, in terms of recognition and accountability, accountability is key to the success of the group. We produce an annual report to track our progress, to share insights with our leadership team. We only had a meeting with our MD a couple of weeks ago, and our efforts have been recognized externally, which has earned us the silver accreditation from the National Transport Authority as part of their Smarter Travel Workplaces. And that's a testament to our collective commitment within the group to sustainability. And then I suppose if I were just to summarize, our ERG isn't just about promoting sustainability, but it's really about fostering a culture where everybody feels empowered to contribute to meaningful change. And of course, importantly, which is very important to me, I kind of bring the softy side to the group, but to be part of a kind, supportive and action-driven community. So through the governance that I touched on, the engagement, the education, the external partnerships, we're really trying to build a more sustainable future within our organization and in the wider community. So to conclude, I just want to thank everybody on the call for listening and the interest in this award category, and a special thank you to the Irish Centre for Diversity for recognizing the excellent work accomplished, not only by our ERG, but of course by all the ERGs present today. So thanks very much. As you can tell, I'm a talker.
You're very passionate, Tatiana. It's fantastic to hear all the great work you've been doing in the last 3 years, and you certainly have packed an awful lot in. And 500 trees, wow, that's a lot of trees. So well done on this initiative. It's fantastic, and another worthy finalist in this category. So best of luck with all your with all that work. And just to move on to our last finalist today. So our last finalist is our winner, which are Aldi. So congratulations to Aldi, represented today by Brian O'Shea. So you're very welcome, Brian.
Thanks, Erika. I'm delighted to be invited along.
And it's fantastic to have you here. So huge congrats, very worthy winners. So Brian, I suppose just to give a bit of context and background, the judges were really impressed that Aldi had a diverse cross-section of the workforce involved in championing menopause awareness, from HR, warehouse operations, store operations, and corporate departments, supported throughout by strong senior management buy-in. Your holistic understanding of the varied challenges colleagues face and the role you're playing in spreading that understanding in the wider community made you the winners in this category. So, Brian, can you tell us what winning this award means to you, and which is the first part, and the second part, what are the next steps for Aldi in this area?
Sure, absolutely. Thanks, Erika. And I might give a little bit of context as well to, I suppose, what we've done as well in relation to menopause and raising awareness. So just to briefly introduce myself and to self-describe, my own name is Brian O'Shea, and I take the lead for the HR function here in Aldi. I'm a white Irish man, more importantly, a proud Cork man, and I'm erring towards the latter stages of 40s. So that's a brief introduction to myself. I'm wearing a white shirt against a white background, and I'm dialing in from our regional distribution centre here in Mitchelstown in County Cork. So it's, I suppose, winning the award for us, it's a hugely positive moment and achievement for us, and most importantly, our menopause ambassador team. And maybe to give some context to where our journey started, maybe in relation to menopause, this is contained within our overarching diversity and inclusion strategy, which we launched in April 2021. And part of that was looking at ways in how we can support all of our colleagues and female colleagues within our business here, and whether that be policy development, women in leadership programs, and in fact menopause, because this is a hugely important area for us. we know that 38% of our female colleagues are within the 40 to 65 age cohort. So it is a growing topic within the business. And one of the challenges that we've, for us as a business, is that we operate on over 160 different locations, which makes it a little bit more challenging in how we can communicate that message. So our menopause ambassadors have been absolutely instrumental in allowing us to, I suppose, giving us that platform to communicate and drive awareness of menopause. And they have been very much the listening ear for colleagues who wish to speak to them before they speak to their line manager, or for colleagues who may have a partner going through menopause. So they are very much, as I say, the listening ear for all of our colleagues across the business. And what we tried to do was to create an environment whereby we had representation from every business area, or from each business area. As you mentioned, Erika, our store operations, our warehouse operations, and our offices. And because those working environments can be very different, depending on what environment you're working in, I suppose it just brings additional context that when an individual is speaking to a peer or a colleague, that they're aware of maybe, I suppose, those working environments. So they've done a huge amount of work over the last 12 to 18 months in driving awareness of menopause, in driving education, in helping to cultivate a culture whereby we speak about menopause in a much more open manner. And I suppose what we are always trying to achieve here is we're not trying to have line managers or people within their business as clinicians. What we are trying to do is create that culture of openness where we do discuss menopause in the same way we discuss any other health related topic. So what it means to us is, I think it's huge recognition for the work that our menopause ambassador team have delivered and continue to work on since their inception. They've certainly brought a huge amount of momentum to us in driving awareness and education around menopause. And really importantly, they bring back, I suppose, first-hand information as to what support their colleagues may need, or what additional initiatives we can explore to support our colleagues further. So really, really positive in recognition for the work they've done. But it's also really positive to deliver that message internally across our business as well, because it does, I suppose, validate some of the supports, some of the initiatives, again, the menopause ambassador team themselves, and it does endorse, I suppose, the work that's been done to date. Moving forward, I think we've started this with great momentum, and sometimes the challenge can be when you've started with such momentum is to maintain that momentum. So 2025 for us is very much about expanding our training. And I think it's important to point out as well and to recognise the Menopause Hub and the support that they have provided to us, and likewise in particular Loretta Dignam, who has been an absolute wealth of information to help us and guide us on this journey. So we will continue to roll out training in Q1 and Q2 of this year. We'll continue to enhance our support structures and develop those further over the course of the year. Communication, I think we can all agree communication is so important in relation to any initiative that we roll out across our business. So we will continue. We've embedded some strong communication channels, and that has allowed us to raise significant awareness of menopause. And we want to enhance those further, but we also want to continue to bring that message in a strategic way. So we're not bombarding people with information, but it's a regular flow of information. And within that, we can educate colleagues as well. One of the targets for us is that we launched a survey last September as a benchmark to understand where we are. And we had a really positive response of a little over 400 responses, and it's a voluntary survey. So we were very happy with that. One of our targets is to increase the number of responses that we get on that survey, and we're going to issue that in September again this year, and to allow us to benchmark how we're performing. And really, again, I suppose the last part of that is to, again, leverage the expertise from external partners and look at how we can continue this journey and continue to support our colleagues. And if there are any other initiatives that we can bring in a reasonable manner to the business over the course of 2025. But I think that would hopefully answer the question, Erika, of, I suppose, what it means to us and maybe some of the plans for the year ahead.
It absolutely does, Brian. In fairness, it's a fantastic initiative and a fantastic achievement, and one, I suppose, you're worthy winners in this category. Very close to our own hearts, obviously, at Laya as health and wellbeing providers. So, while we weren't on the judging panel, we were definitely I was very proud on the night to be able to present it to you guys at Aldi. So, huge well done on that.
And again, thank you to yourselves, Erika and Laya, and likewise the Irish Centre for Diversity for the award.
So thanks to Brian and to everyone today, all our finalists, as I said, all very worthy finalists. And it's been an absolute pleasure to speak and hear of all of your experiences and learn some more that I can certainly take away myself. So without further ado, I'm going to hand back to James, and we'll speak to you all very soon.
Thanks, Erika, and thanks everyone. I just feel the Cork representation on this webinar is very strong this morning. But just to summarise, I suppose, I was really blown away by the work that has been done in this area. Particularly, we heard from Mags there around the women's network and mentoring circles, and talking about building trusted information as opposed to just Googled information. That was really powerful that I came across. And then Laura talking about promoting and protecting the human rights and true allyship, and be the best allies, and encouraging others to become allies. And I think that's really important when we talk about allyship, is around that encouragement piece. And of course, the impact on external diversity, and linking with external organisations, PAVI, Point, As I Am, etc. And Siobhan, really struck by your action-orientated group, and of course inspired by that Assume That I Can and I Will video by Matt St. Evelyn. If anyone hasn't seen it, I'd urge you definitely to look at that viral video. And again, where you touched on diversity initiatives, but the diversity of the initiatives as well, right across our intersectionalities and multiple identities as people, as we come to work and be our best selves. And again, the impact on external diversity was really powerful there as well. Melanie, I think when you talked about the Shared Roots series, learning about home countries, food and traditions, and how that can bring a sameness or a connection, and that in-person contact is really important, and having meals and even a conversation was fantastic there. And Tatiana, even when you talked about the sustainability ERG around the canal cleanups, the battery recycling, and talking about more voices, and having a roadmap and pillars, really structural things that we can all bring to our ERGs, and around engagement initiatives, education sessions as well. And then, Brian, when you talk about that menopause awareness supported by an intersection of all colleagues, and as well when you talked about managing ERGs over many locations, even 160, and how it can be done, and planning for the future, whether that's having training, enhancing support structures, etc. And just to finish up before I go to my thank yous, just when I was thinking about the common themes, and I seen it in the chat there, that employee resource groups are a key driver of workplace progress. And we can see across this webinar, we had, the power of mentorship, the intersectional approach from everybody, and the leadership, the diversity of initiatives as well, that impact on external diversity, but also the progress of bringing people together and having a culture of openness as well. So really powerful webinar again this morning. I would really encourage people maybe to link with people on LinkedIn and keep the conversation going, and keep the door open for the conversation around equality, diversity and inclusion, because together we are stronger, and I really do believe that. So just on to our thank yous, and to wrap up today, I just want to say, yeah, sorry,
it's Ciara here. Just a quick, I know we have a minute or two left of time. There's one question in, maybe if you wanted to
perfect.
address it. Yeah, I'll just
yeah, no problem.
read it out. It's, how do you get buy-in from leadership in terms of budgets?
Perfect. Thanks, Ciara. So how do you get buy-in from leadership in terms of budgets? Anybody want to come in on that one?
I'm happy to jump in if that's okay.
Yeah,
I can speak from my own experience. I think it's, I don't mean to state the obvious, but I think it's understanding who the audience is, and appealing to what appeals to them. So I suppose when we launched our Menopause Ambassador program, it was bringing the black and white data behind it. So we leveraged, again, the data from the Menopause Hub, from surveys they did. So it brought a commerciality to it, to the proposal as well. It's not just the right thing, which it is the right thing to do to support our colleagues, but actually here's some hard data-driven facts that support why we should do it.
Very good. Thank you, Brian. Thanks for sharing. Anybody else want to come in there?
I think I would jump in on that one also. I think that within Mr. Price, we have been so supported by our leadership team that, it has been collaborative. It's been stuff that impacts each person on a personal level that we really want to give back socially and within our own team. So when we found that we have such a supportive network, we haven't found a massive difference. I think that people get so caught up in the professional that we forget the person, and we're very person-centered here. So that's how we find that we get the buy-in.
And
And just,
Yeah.
oh
Sorry,
yeah.
Melanie.
Sorry, Erica. Yeah, I just wanted to add to our Shared Roots initiative. So we do many initiatives across our Belong D&I network. But what was most telling about this was there was really no cost associated with it at all. And what was refreshing, and really we got such great feedback, was that instead of bringing in external speakers, we were using our own people, and it was our own people who were talking and sharing. And that was so well received. So I think too often we can think we need huge budgets to do anything in the DEI space, and that is not always the case. So I think, and budgets are tightening, and there's can feel like there's economic uncertainty at times, and it's look to your own is what I would really really advocate to do, because there's so much untapped diversity within everyone's workplace, and everyone just really relishes the opportunity to speak and have their voice heard, so it doesn't have to cost a fortune.
Melanie, thank you. Erica, did you want to come in there?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. You don't have to have a huge amount of budget, so you can start small and start, as you said, internally. But I think equally it's getting yourself on the agenda. So, sometimes it's about getting in and just getting that conversation started. And I think once you get the conversation started, it can lead to greater things.
Yeah, Erica, thank you very much. Anna or Laura or Tatiana, do you want to come in at all?
Yeah, I would agree with a lot of the points there, particularly with Brian's about the data. I talked about how we have a very structured approach to our group, and having that annual report and sitting down with the leadership team, and demonstrating what the impact is very powerful in terms of our negotiating ability with them and our bargaining power. Now, in terms of our D&I program, each ERG starts the year with a specific budget, and then to Melanie's point, that a lot of the things that we actually engage in terms of the activities are free of charge. I don't think there's ever been a year that we've used the full budget. So it's about, having the data to be able to demonstrate the impact to the leadership team to ensure that the budget is there, when you need it. But it's also, like Melanie said, leveraging the skills within the organization. You don't have to go external for everything.
Yeah, Tatiana, thank you very much. Hannah?
Yes, yeah, and similar to what Melanie said there, and I suppose there's a particular, I suppose, lens for us as a public sector organisation, then as well with regard to kind of budgets and resources as well. So there was that, but because we're a human rights based organisation, and that's the approach that we take, when we actually went to the leadership to talk to them about it and to get buy-in, it was kind of pushing on an open door. They were very, the whole structure and culture of the organisation is built around, I suppose, promoting that human rights based approach in everything that we're doing. So it was very well aligned actually with the strategy of HICWA generally. So, from I suppose the where we might lack in resources, we definitely had that buy-in in spades. And like, as you said, Melanie, we're an employee resource group, we're run by employees for employees. So we kind of really relied, as well as, including, our leadership and other groups within our organization, like HR and our communications and stakeholders engagement team, who were extremely supportive of us. But we run it for ourselves, and very much focused internally as well on staff and what the staff internally can do, and the stories that we can share with each other as well. So that's really important.
I love that piece, by employees for employees. It's brilliant. Anybody else want to say anything else? Happy enough. Yeah. Well, look, I suppose lots of tremendous work been done, and a massive thank you to everyone for sharing everything today. I just want to say a few quick thank yous before we wrap up. Thank you to our host, an amazing host, Erika of Laya Healthcare, to our finalists, to our winner Aldi, Brian, and to our ISL interpreter for keeping up with us, Shelley. Thank you so much. To the tech team behind the scenes, especially to Kira and Andrew, and of course, all of you for joining us. Please do remember this recording will be available shortly in a few days, and feel free to contact us through our website and register for upcoming webinars and view other recordings. Thank you for joining today, and bye-bye.
Thank you.